Hey everyone, Golden Ninja 3000 here again. Today I'm going to be reviewing LEGO Architecture set number 21056, the Taj Mahal. This has 2022 pieces, it's for ages 18 plus, and this retails for $120 in the US. This is the second Taj Mahal set that LEGO has made. They did one for Creator Expert back in like 2000, actually, sorry, I guess it's technically the third. They did one for Creator Expert back in 2008, I think. And then they re-released it in 2017, and that one just retired this year or last year. So it's great to have another one out on the market, especially one that uses modern building techniques. I'm not a huge LEGO architecture person. I only own a couple of the Skyline sets, but I really love, just how the Taj Mahal looks in general, like in real life. I am Indian, so it is, like a big part of my heritage. I have been here. I went when I was a kid, in 2007 or something. I was really little. I was I think 6 or 7. And I definitely remember it fondly. It's a very impressive place to visit, and it makes for a very impressive LEGO set. So I don't know exactly how large this is, but this seems to be about the size of a base plate, and I guess I could just count the studs and tell you guys for real. But it's a pretty decent size, and it's also very heavy. It's kind of hard to show you guys all the angles of it because it really wants to pull up my backdrop over here. But I think that it looks really good, and obviously it's symmetrical on all sides, so we don't really need to look at every side. The only asymmetry is at the front, because you do have a little entryway, which we'll take a closer look at now. So there is a printed tile with the set name, and then you can kind of see inside this little, I'm trying to pick up the set. It's really hard to get a finger underneath it just because it is so flat. But inside those little ingot kind of details, you can see that there's a suggestion of stairs. So there are 2 staircases. You enter them up here, and then you can walk up up to the mausoleum itself. And if you don't know anything about the Taj Mahal in real life, this is a mausoleum designed by a Mughal emperor for his wife, Shah Jahan. He's a fairly important historical figure, but this entire thing was built as a monument to his wife, and then both of them are buried inside it. So that's just a little bit of background for people that don't know what it is. The predominant colors here are white and tan, which I think is fairly successful. I think this is a lot tanner than the real thing would look like. But LEGO doesn't really have a good off-white color. I know this has come up in conversation with the Disney Castle, so I think that the white and tan look is really, really nice. I particularly love the checkerboard design here. You'd think that this would be terrible to build. I was really, really dreading it, but it actually wasn't bad. Because you build on 2x3 plates and then you just put them together, so it's not hard to straighten out the pieces, and it wasn't as much of a nightmare as I was expecting. Because I love the Creator Expert version too. It's just that sets that are this symmetrical, they do get a little bit repetitive, and so I'm really glad that this one wasn't too bad. The other thing I really like is the use of these white ingot pieces for detailing. I think that that's really successful, and the entire thing is resting on this kind of a dark orange base color. That's not accurate to the actual thing. There's a long stretch of gardens before it and everything, and it's on the banks of a river, but I like the presentation of it. I think it's it looks like a very classy, nice display piece. And the big thing about this one versus the Creator Expert one is that it's all smoothed over. This, again, uses modern building techniques, and it doesn't have all of the exposed studs that the old design from 2008 does. And I really appreciate that, and that's why I bought it. The wall sections were a little bit irritating to build because it was just kind of hard to line up all the different 1x1 pieces, but I love the use of the candlestick piece as pillars, and then these little windows are just made with 1x3 arches, and I think that that looks great. And then kind of inside the actual entryways, you do have actual window pieces with just grates behind them that look really good. And then these walls are very plain. There's nothing going on here. On the real thing, these walls are inlaid with jewels, and they're very impressive. Again, I was really little when I went, but one of my most distinct memories of visiting this place was just seeing all of the jewels inlaid in the walls. But at this scale, there's not much that LEGO could have done unless they wanted to do a print or something, but it's really, really not necessary. So I don't think that that's a detail that they missed out on. The minarets aren't super successful in my opinion, but then again, I feel like they're just hard to do in general. So there's 4 of them positioned around the central mausoleum, and they actually lean slightly outwards because they're designed to fall away from the building instead of onto it if in the event of a collapse. And I just don't love the way these are built. Like, you have a couple of cylinder bricks at the bottom, like resting on a fez piece, and then you use like Technic, like small gears, and then you've got these like Technic pieces. I don't like it. I think that this gives too much texture. You don't get like the effect of windows up here at all, which is kind of a shame because, I mean, like, those are kind of important in my opinion. And I just don't like the way that, you know, these are just regular smooth bricks and then these are Technic ones. So I really think the minarets could have been done better. The other things I really don't like are up on the roof. So I like most of the roof. I particularly like the little fence pieces used, the ski poles used as spires. I love seeing that, whether it's on Hogwarts or on a building like this. But what I hate are the little domes. I think that these look terrible. They look fine up here, and using gold wands as like their spires is a really clever parts usage. But I don't like any of this. Like, right now, this looks like it looks like it's a bunch of skeleton arms holding up a dome. Like, that's what it looks like, because that's what it is. This doesn't look anything like the smaller domes on the actual structure, which have little windows on all sides. And I understand what the designer was going for here. I understand like what they were trying to accomplish, but I just don't think it was successful at all. I'm going to try to pull one of these up. But to me, like, this does not look like a window at all. This looks like they're two separate freestanding structures connected by strings or something. And I don't like that. That's definitely my least favorite part of the build. And honestly, it kind of ruins the entire effect of the roof for me. So much so that maybe I'll find a way to modify it myself. You can lift off the entire roof, so I'll just grab it by the central dome. And that central dome looks fantastic. It's using these newer, like, curved spherical pieces, like these kind of quarter spheres. And it looks really good. I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. Again, compared to the Creator Expert version, which is so studded, this is just really impressive to me. I am going to pop this out just because it's a very interesting construction. I did read the instructions for this set over the summer because I was working on a LEGO Ideas project where I had to make a sphere like this. And I'm just really impressed that you can get a sphere this close to perfect in LEGO form. And I really like, you know, round, smooth objects in LEGO, so I kind of just want to like toss this around like a Pokeball or something because it's so nice. And it has a good weight to it too because of all the inner structure. So with the roof lifted off, you can start to see inside the mausoleum. Now, this part in the middle actually removes as well. So let's take a look at that first before we see what's underneath. So the small chamber that comes out of the inside of the mausoleum is where the tombs are. But these are fake tombs. Shah Jahan and his favorite wife, who this is built for, Mumtaz Mahal, she's not actually buried in here. They're both buried underneath the fake tombs, but this is the chamber that you would walk into like when you go into the actual building, and it's the only part accessible to the public. I don't know if these pieces are new or not. They seem to be like smaller versions of the pieces that make up like the bottle part of the ship in a bottle set. But I'm just gonna go ahead and like try to break this open because once this is all built up, there's no easy way to get inside, which seems kind of strange to me. So inside, you've got the two tombs, and this is the only asymmetrical part of the entire mausoleum. And that's because Shah Jahan wasn't supposed to be buried here. This was supposed to be a mausoleum just for his wife, and then he was supposed to be buried elsewhere. But after his death, I think it was like that his son didn't finish building his tomb, and so instead they just buried him in here. And so that's why the two tombs are offset from the center. So that's really interesting to me, especially because a building that's this symmetrical, that was built like so long ago, I think this was built in like the 1600s, I believe. It's interesting to me that like I don't know. I mean, I know that if I was like Shah Jahan and I had built it, I would be dead, but it would really bother me that there was like an asymmetrical element to my perfectly symmetrical structure. And once you take the inner chamber out, what you're left with are the actual tombs that are like in the like basement, for lack of a better term. So once again, they are asymmetrical, they're slightly offset, and this is a pretty nice inner area. You know, you've got like those wall panels, you do have a slight checker design inside. So I think that that's really cool. And again, I don't think this area is open to the public. This is, you know, it's private, of course, because real people are buried there. So you can only kind of see like the fake coffins when you actually go into the Taj Mahal. It's super easy to put everything back in. Nothing is attached with studs. It all just kind of slides into place. And it's actually very satisfying to put everything into place because it just fits so well together. And as I say that, of course, it's not fitting correctly. So There we go. But usually it works a lot better than that. So let's wrap up this review now because that does it for the build. Here are the extra pieces. My favorites are probably the ski poles, just because it's always nice to get more of those. The box for this set is a decent size. It is the architectural style of flip-up box. We have a really nice logo here. I really love this. Love the script. It says the location, which is in Agra. And then we do have, like a Lego version of the dome. I just really like that. I think it's like very deluxe. On top, we do have a nice view of all of the domes. And then at the back, we've just got some more shots as well as some kind of like interior details. So you can see, I do think the designer captured it pretty well. Obviously the central dome is a lot more gappy on the Lego version. But the proportions are still a little bit off. It would have been nice to get like some kind of suggestion of the garden. And of course, none of these interior details, like look at that, like none of that is captured in Lego's version at all. The box, like I said, flips up. You have a little thing that says, enjoy your building experience. And then it's pretty much plain, except for on the side, there's this quote from a guy named Edwin Arnold. Don't know who that is, but it says, not a piece of architecture, but the proud passions of an emperor's love wrought in living stones. I feel like that's a very nice quote. So it's super weird to me that it's tucked away on like one corner of the box. I feel like it should be here, or it should be like on the top, like on the inside lid, or it should be here in place of enjoy your building experience. Like all architecture sets, the manual is pretty nice as well. Again, wonderful image of the actual building. And here you can really see what I'm saying about the domes. Like look at those domes and those windows and then look at the Lego versions. It's like that design technique was just not successful whatsoever. And then you do have some history about the building, as well as some information about the design process. I love seeing, like stuff with the designers and with prototype models, although I think that's just the finished model. And that pretty much does it. At the back, you do have an ad for other architecture sets, which I thought was really cool because like it's actually a pretty nice spread. Like it takes you through all of the architecture sets currently on the market. And it even has some really, really nice displayable photos. So I really like that. So seeing as how this is our first freshly designed Lego Taj Mahal set in about 13 years, I think it's very successful. I really like it. I can't wait to put it on display. Of course, I do have the larger one, but this is about a third of the cost and, also about a third of the pieces, a little bit more than that. And I think it works really well. If you want a display piece of the Taj Mahal, definitely go for this one because the Creator Expert one, it's great, it's huge, but it's also very studded and it's very much a product of its time. It's very much a 2008 design that was just re-released in 2017. So I really appreciate how much more modern this one is, but there's still definite room for improvement. I don't think you could do the dome much better, and have it be smooth. So I'm pretty impressed with that. But I don't like the design of the minarets. They also fall over way too much. And I know that you can't really fix that, but it's just really, really irritating to me. I knocked off both of the front ones at least twice while filming this review. Then the other thing I hate, I already talked about the smaller domes. That's just not a successful design at all. And I understand that getting 4 or 8 windows would be hard at this scale, but there had to be a better solution than what was picked. And the other thing is that, yeah, the proportions are a bit off. If you look at the front of the actual structure compared to the Lego set, everything should be wider. The minarets are kind of squeezed in. It needs to be a little bit more rectangular and a little bit less square, in my opinion, or just a bigger square. The minarets should be more out here. They shouldn't be so close to the actual structure. Those things don't bother me too much unless I'm directly looking at a photo of the set and then a photo of the real building. I still think it's a nice display piece. I just think that Lego could still do better because, again, even with the jewel and the scrolly designs, there's so much texture in the walls of the Taj Mahal and there's so much color, and it's just lost at this scale. And so I don't know, printed pieces would be cool, or just maybe size it up a little bit, maybe not Creator Expert size, but maybe make it a $150 set instead of a $120 set. So I doubt Lego is going to revisit the Taj Mahal anytime in the next few years. But I wanted to review this set because I never reviewed the Creator Expert one. And even though this came out months ago, I still thought it would be nice to do because today is Diwali and, it's an important holiday and this is an important building. So that's it for today. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and check out my website, goldenninja3000.com. And I'll see you guys on more videos soon. Bye for now.